Yes, we are live, back in action, attacking your speakers from the field to the bleachers. This is the Power 32 podcast with my main man, Mr. Primetime 313, David Dale on the Sports Prophet, ready for another hour of power. NFL fantasy, wild card, all sorts of great, crazy stuff. Coaches being fired left and right. Yo, what is going on, Prime?
What's going on, man? How's the weather down there?
Hey man, we're chilling. The weather is nice right now. It's like, in the morning 60s into the 70s into the afternoon. So this is when it's real great to be in Florida. Maybe not for some Florida teams, as only we got one representative in Jacksonville, and that's like 7 hours north of me. Florida is freaking huge. For people who don't know, when you get to the state of Florida, if you're driving north or even from the Panhandle area, and your goal is to get to Miami, you got about another 7 hours of driving ahead of you, my friend. It is a long, crazy, weirdly shaped state. Yeah, they have a show called How the States Got Their Shapes.
Yeah.
I wish I would have seen how Florida got it, because it is shaped so strange. It's like, it looks like, I don't know, like a jalapeno sticking out the bottom of the freaking country. It's the weirdest thing, dude.
That's funny, and it is. And a lot of people don't, and it's like that with Michigan too. You can, but I don't, Texas is like famous for, you can drive like 24 hours straight across Texas and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, the weather up here it's been a little mild the last couple of days. It's supposed to be like 40s for the next few days and hitting 50 on Friday. So, hopefully we'll keep getting a little semi-warm spell like that as we push through the month of January, get January out of the way, and then get into the depression that is known as the month of February up here in the Midwest. So.
Yeah. Well, I know you're always checking out the weather. You are the weather man. There is no doubt about it, my friend. You are always on top of that, always asking me, making sure that I'm comfy over here. I don't need to be wearing this winter hat right now. I'm just representing.
You're just representing, baby.
In the playoffs. Ooh, we got Philly, man, in Philadelphia. Going to be a tough one. We're going to talk about it. We have NFL wild card weekend to get into. A lot of coaches being fired. Some that have been fired already, so we're looking for landing spots. So we got a lot of stuff to get into, but of course we start with our NFL trivia wild card round edition. Are you ready, my friend?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we already know what the order is going to be in this year's upcoming draft. Let's see right now.
Yeah, we
got
do.
The Raiders number 1. Yep, Raiders 1, Jets 2, and then we got the Cardinals 3, the Titans 4, Giants 5, Cleveland 6, Washington 7, New Orleans 8, Kansas City 9. Can you believe that?
That's
and
crazy.
Then Cincinnati at 10. But I'm going to ask you about first rounders over here. So my NFL trivia question to you today is, which two NFL teams have had the most number 1 overall picks in NFL draft history? Two teams, most number 1 picks overall.
And I'm assuming they're tied for the same amount.
Well, yeah. There are two teams, and I'll give you the number. There are two teams that have had the number 1 overall pick 7 times. And it goes back a long ways. So put your thinking cap on.
And the thing about it is that, there's been so many teams that have been so bad for so long, but they're not necessarily bad enough to always be the top pick in the draft.
That's right. This is all about the number 1 overall pick. Two teams have had it 7 times to date. Which two could it be? Tough question, no doubt about it.
Man.
But when you hear some of the names, you'd be like, oh, okay. Yep, I remember.
You know what? Without spending an inordinate amount of time on this, I'm going to go Cleveland.
I knew Cleveland was going to be one of them. I knew you were going to say Cleveland.
And I'm going to say tick-tock. Screw it. Right. For the sake of time, I'm going to say the New York Jets.
Okay, those are two pretty good guesses, but incorrect. It's actually the Colts, who started with Baltimore and then obviously at Indianapolis, and Rams.
The Rams?
In LA and St. Louis. Yeah, so some names you may know, obviously, from the Indianapolis Colts. Number 1 overall pick in Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, Jeff George, guys like Steve Ettman, John Elway even counts. He was drafted number 1 by them. He decided not to go there. Bubba Smith for the Rams. You got guys like Jared Goff, Sam Bradford, Orlando Pace, and then it goes back a little bit further. But yeah, the Rams and the Colts both have seven times they have picked
That's
number one
interesting.
overall.
And if you're a fan of football, like for the last 15, 20 years coming forward, you probably wouldn't think that because, it's like, and sometimes the draft is such a whirlwind that you kind of get lost sometimes as like the order of picks. You just kind of remember the players. And
right.
But yeah, Sam Bradford, Jeff George. You talk about a guy who, if he would have stayed focused, there's people to this day that still talk about how great his arm is or was back in the day. And Steve Ettman, I remember him. He was a nemesis back in like 90, 91, 92-ish. He played for the University of Washington. And that was the year that they and Michigan had a collision in a bowl game, and he just kind of wrecked shop. He was like a man among boys. He was kind of like a bigger version of like a Max Crosby or one of the Watt brothers back then. Steve with the huge, back in the day, they wore the
big neck roll.
The neck roll.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was a force, man. And Sam Bradford, that's, man, you talk about guys that never panned out.
And he got a lot of chances, Sam Bradford. He really did. But he spent a lot of time on the injury reserve list, that's for sure. As we say, we're up to one of our favorites. McNiner has. Let's go 49ers. That's what we're saying right now, baby. We got to go to Philly, but okay. All right, we're going to talk about that game. All right, so that's the NFL trivia action. Let's talk head coaching jobs right now, or lack thereof, because there are now 7 teams looking for head coaches. Unbelievable what's going on right now. Let's get into this NFL talk right away. Here we go. I'll go through them real quick. We already know that the Giants fired Brian Daboll months ago, as did the Tennessee Titans with Brian Callahan. Now you got Kevin Stefanski fired from the Browns, Raheem Morris out with the Falcons, Jonathan Gannon out with the Cardinals, Pete Carroll fired from the Raiders, and more of a parting of ways, the big one, Baltimore Ravens, saying bye-bye after 18 years to John Harbaugh. And we thought that might be in the air. That was a possibility. It was almost like a Mike Tomlin versus John Harbaugh last game of the season. Loser go home, like a retirement match, like John Cena versus The Rock or something like that. Loser is out, you're freaking done. And that's what happened to Harbaugh. But you got to imagine, if he wants to coach next year, he's got to be number one on just about everybody's list. I mean, I've already heard that 7 teams have called him, and which is weird because there's 6 vacancies besides his in Baltimore. So another team called that already has a coach. That's how coveted he is right now.
Here, and let's play a little couple-minute speculation game. Who do you think that team is?
Well, number one is the Giants, without a doubt.
Well, I already tried to call Harbaugh. I'm gonna send him like some edible arrangements, and we're gonna do whatever we got to do, because that.
You mean like THC edibles?
Whatever he's into. Whatever he's into.
Right.
I would love to have John Harbaugh as the head coach of the New York Giants. I do know that they have Kevin Stefanski lined up for an interview tomorrow. Not sure how I feel about that. I know there's a lot of people out there that are high on Kevin Stefanski, but I'm really not. 2-time coach of the year. I don't know how that happened either. He's, I think what a lot of these coaches have in common, Prophet, they all have losing records except Harbaugh. So there's a reason why you're let go. If you're a successful coach doing what you got to do, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to be let go unless you're one of the more high profile jobs. You think Arizona, if you go 10-7 in Arizona every year, they probably build a statue. But yeah, that Harbaugh firing just about a half hour, 45 minutes or whatever ago.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that reverberates the most, man. But I would, absolutely love John Harbaugh to be the coach of the Giants.
So would you and a lot of other teams right now. We just mentioned the teams that have head coaching vacancies: the Giants, Browns, Falcons, Cardinals, Titans, Raiders, and of course now the Ravens. We'll see which way they want to go. And the potential head coaches that are out there, names that I'm hearing now is, Chris Shula, DC from the Rams, Jeff Hafley, DC from the Packers, Vance Joseph, DC from the Broncos. A lot of defensive coordinators, including Anthony Weaver from the Dolphins. Robert Sala's name has come up. Brian Flores' name has come up from the Vikings. Now, all of a sudden, Cliff Kingsbury has parted ways with the Commanders. Could he be a head coach somewhere, maybe with a young quarterback like Jackson Dart? You want to pair him up with an offensive guy, maybe. So either him, do you go Matt Nagy? Do you give him another shot? So there are guys out there. But for the Baltimore job, I'm hearing Jesse Minter, who is John Harbaugh's defensive coordinator with the Chargers. I'm hearing their names kind of connected right now. Jesse Minter did a really good job with that defense down in LA with the Chargers. So he may be in line for a head coaching job. But Baltimore is got to be the number one spot where a coach wants to go right now. I don't know if there's a name out there, Prime, that I'm not thinking of, or somebody from the college ranks that's going to want to come up and say, wow, I got a Super Bowl ready-made roster here. Because that's what they have. They have a Super Bowl ready-made roster ready to go. They just need somebody and the team to be able to put it all together. And apparently that hasn't been John Harbaugh for a while.
I think, first of all, I think Jesse Minter, that job is his if he wants it, because not only, is he, he's done a good job in Seattle, but he worked with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan for 1 year.
Right.
As a defensive coordinator to kind of, get his chops. I think Baltimore, the Giants, and maybe the Falcons, if you look at the openings, those are probably the three most attractive jobs. I can't see, Cleveland's not an attractive job. Arizona's not really an attractive job, especially since you don't know what they're going to do with Kyler Murray. And Tennessee,
I think the Raiders are an attractive job, to be honest, because look, the division is tough. Obviously, that is the biggest problem, but I think that it's like, are you getting the number one overall pick and they have a lot of money to spend? You think that hopefully Tom Brady and his other brain trust out there and these guys are going to do it, wisely, spend the money the right way. The only thing I would say is where you say really, you still got to deal with Denver, who's on the rise, obviously with the young the Chargers, and then you figure the Chiefs are going to get back to somewhat resemblance of what they used to be of some sort. So, tough division, but I think the Raiders, look, you just never know. Quarterbacks get hurt. What if Herbert's out all year next year and the Raiders somehow just land these guys? I don't know. It really can't happen. As we also say to another one of our favorites in the house right now, Real Savage, Joey Gaiman. What up, buddy?
What up, Joe? How you doing?
So, other than the Baltimore Ravens, I think the Raiders is a decent job. I think the Giants, but what about the Falcons? Do you think the Falcons is a good job?
Yeah, and that's why I put them in my top three. I think even if you don't have, if you move on from Penix, which I don't think they will, but let's just say if you do, you still got Bijan, you still got Drake London, you still got Kyle Pitts, you still have a pretty solid defense. The problem with Atlanta was that I think Atlanta, and you and I talked, a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, about Atlanta playing for Raheem Morris, kind of playing for him, kind of keeping his job.
They won their last 4 games for him. They played hard for him. A lot of guys came out and spoke on his behalf after he got fired. They didn't like it.
But I didn't think that it would be enough. I think that there's just, we talk about all the time, there's certain guys that are better coordinators than head coaches. And I think a lot of times, guys get in over their head when they get head coaching. I think in Raheem Morris's case, I think there were unrealistic expectations in Atlanta. I think people thought that they were instantly going to be like a 12-5 football team with Michael Penix and the weapons that they have. That was never going to happen. Especially, so I think in Raheem's case, I think it was more, he was a victim of expectations as opposed to like a Brian Callahan or a Jonathan Gannon, who just absolutely crapped the bed the last 3 seasons. Showing no progression, no anything when it comes to the Cardinals. And they actually have a fairly, you got Marvin Harrison, you got Trey McBride, you got a solid running game. Kyler Murray, I think, has always been, and you and I have talked about this for months, about how he may be the handcuff for the Arizona Cardinals. And I think they're probably maybe 2, maybe even 3 seasons removed too late from moving on from Kyler Murray. Kyler Murray should have left probably when Cliff Kingsbury left, if you want to go back that far, because there was obviously, to guys like you and I, there was really nothing there with him, especially after the whole not watching film thing came out a few years ago, and
Hmm.
you saw no progression, no upward trajectory at all with the Cardinals. But yeah, my top three would be the Baltimore job, the Giants job, and the Atlanta job. But
Yeah, that makes
I can see
sense.
your point on the Raiders. I can see
No,
that a
no, but
little
it
bit.
makes sense. It makes sense. And, with the Atlanta job, I'm not totally convinced on Michael Penix Jr., to be honest with you. And I don't know how sold they are after a year and a half or whatever looking at him, but it is still his team as the quarterback, no doubt. And just a few more comments from the chat over here. McNider saying that Mark Davis is the problem with the Raiders, kind of
Oh
like how
wow.
maybe the opposite of what Al Davis was, because Al Davis was just win baby, and they were doing that for a long time under him, but not anymore. And we got Real Savage here talking some junk to me already. Jalen Hurts is the motherfucking dude in the playoffs, and Vic Fangio, our D, can cook them bros. All right, we'll see what happens, man. Look, 49ers versus Eagles, we're going to talk about it. That's going to be a tough one. Last time we saw you guys in the playoffs, our quarterback got hurt, so God forbid that happens this time. We do not need that, not one damn bit. But yeah, I mean, other jobs like Tennessee and Arizona and Cleveland, these jobs that we mentioned, you're
Mhm.
not going to get the top head coaches out there. You're going to get guys that are desperate for jobs more than anything. So it's a lot of rinse, recycle, repeat with these teams, and it's getting ugly. They got to find somebody, and sometimes you got to go outside the box in order to find someone, like the Dolphins did with Mike McDaniel once upon a time, or Matt
Right.
LaFleur with the Green Bay Packers. It's like, these guys can coach, but you got to give them a shot. So I don't know who it's going to be. There's plenty of dudes out there, but Cliff Kingsbury became instantly one of those names where I'm like, oh, okay, this is an offensive guy. We saw what he did with Jaden Daniels in his rookie year going back to last season. What can he do with ex quarterback, whether it be Jackson Dart or somebody else? But his name keeps coming up. Again, Fernando Mendoza probably going to the Raiders. What if Dante Moore goes to the Jets? Does that become an appealing job?
Yeah, we and you and I have been alluding to the Cliff Kingsbury thing since the end of last season, considering the job he did with Jaden Daniels. Jaden was kind of in and out this year with the Commanders, so I wouldn't put that all squarely on the shoulder of Cliff Kingsbury. I think that was more of a Cliff Kingsbury saw the writing on the wall as far as how many potential openings there were going to be. So yeah, he got fired, so to speak. But I don't think it was like a nasty, hey man, you suck, you're not doing a job for us. I think it was, all right, man, we know that there's going to be a lot of coaching candidates or coaching vacancies in this cycle, and we want you to be able to kind of throw your hat back into the mix. But let me ask one question to the chat and to you. So Harbaugh, after 18 seasons, and by the way, he's only made the playoffs, or he's only got 3 playoff wins in 8 seasons with Lamar. So when people talk about how great Lamar is and all this, and I won't get into that, but when people talk about how great he is, you also have to look at his playoff record. So I'm going to ask the question to everybody. Now that John Harbaugh has been let go by the Ravens, should the Steelers falter in the playoffs? And by falter, I mean just being a colossal failure, not being competitive at all in their playoff game this weekend. Does the fact that Baltimore was willing to part ways with Harbaugh make it easier for the Steelers to potentially part ways with Tomlin?
It's an interesting question right there. I mean, maybe, peripherally, you want to look at it like that, but no, we know that the Steelers are an organization that is prideful. They've only had 3 head coaches in their entire history, going back 50, 60, whatever years it's been right now. So I don't think that they're going to let any other outside information influence what they do. But would they?
I mean,
just from
a, man, if Baltimore was able to make such a difficult decision, then maybe us relieving ourselves of Tomlin is not as difficult if Baltimore was able to do it with Harbaugh.
Here's why it would be okay, because the fans have chanted fire Tomlin. They said that they have wanted him gone, and most of those people still feel that way despite them winning the division and getting a home playoff game this year in the playoffs. Real Savage says yes. If the Steelers don't win one playoff game, then probably they'll part ways with Tomlin. That's very possible, but how much better are you going to do? What better are you going to do? Or is it just that, change is in the air and that's it. We're good to go. We need to get somebody different. We need a new body in here, but they also need a new quarterback. I mean, the Steelers probably are going to be in a little bit of trouble going into next year if they don't, move up or try to get a quarterback or get a good one off the market, because there really aren't that many out there. So they're all in for this year. And then after that, I'm not even sure Mike Tomlin himself would want to stay around, because he's going to look around at his roster, see a bunch of old people, and then see a bunch of guys on offense who really can't do much.
Bingo, bingo, bingo. And to talk out of both sides of my mouth, the difference between John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin is that John Harbaugh has actually had a franchise quarterback for the last 8 seasons. And you can't say that. They've been searching for a quarterback in Pittsburgh since Ben Roethlisberger retired.
For sure.
And a lot of people empathize with Mike Tomlin in that situation. And the Steelers' problem is that they're not good enough to get a top 5 pick, but they're not, so they're never in a position to go out. You end up with guys like Kenny Pickett, or drafting Mason Rudolph in the late rounds, or having to recycle Aaron Rodgers or try to revive Justin Fields. There's been some quarterback debacle going on in Pittsburgh, and I don't think that's all squarely on the shoulders of Tomlin, but I do think there's a lot of people out there that empathize with him and say, hey, man, look, his streak is going in spite of the fact that he hasn't had a franchise quarterback since Big Ben. So there are, it's kind of a dichotomy a little bit there. That's the word of the day, ladies and gentlemen, dichotomy. When you start to compare one to the other, where on the other hand, John Harbaugh has basically had, the MVP of the league for the last, 8 seasons and really hasn't been able to get it done. Hasn't been back to the Super Bowl since 2012 when they won it. So, there's that. But I do think that there's a very hot seat for Mike Tomlin. He might not get fired this season. He might ride it out one more year, but unless they get a franchise quarterback, they're going to be in the same situation they're in right now.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm with you, man. Well said all the way over there. Joey jumping in one more time. If the Steelers do go out in round 1, he promises himself, saying that they will be done with Tomlin and A-Rod. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, I would imagine this is probably his last year. I don't know if he's going to play again. That's another story for another time. But yeah, they again, it's all about this year, and they got a tough matchup with Houston. It's a home game, yes, and Mike Tomlin and the Pittsburgh Steelers are amazing on Monday Night Football, especially at home. Yeah. I think that he's like undefeated or something like that, 11 or 12-0 or something crazy. So maybe they got that going for him. But we'll talk about those games in a little bit. But yeah, I'm interested to see where some of these guys may end up going. Brian Flores, I think that he may end up getting a job somewhere else. So, we'll see. We'll see. Absolutely. All right, Prime. We are going to be making our picks in a little bit, and we have playoff edition Freaky Fantasy Football Draft to do. We get to restart with our teams over here. All right, so we'll get to all that. But before we do, we got to go to Big Deal, No Deal.
Hey, this is Big Deal or No Deal, brought to you by the Power 32 podcast. This is the segment of the show where I present several different scenarios to the chat and to Prophet. And Prophet lets us know if it is a big deal or no deal. We're going to start right away with a couple of the coaching openings that we talked about earlier.
All right.
As I look at the landscape of all of the coaches that have been let go to this point, is it a big deal or no deal that there have been so many unsuccessful multi-season losing seasons for a lot of these coaches that were at one time hot shot commodities? When you look at all the guys that were fired, maybe with the exception of Harbaugh and maybe Stefanski, these were all guys that were at the top of everybody's Christmas list for the most part back a few years ago when they were hired. So is it a big deal or no deal that these hot shot commodities, they shoot up and then they fizzle out so quickly, and in 3 years that they get fired, they end up as a coordinator on a bad team?
But yeah, it's definitely a big deal, because when you're given a shot to be a head coach in the NFL, especially on your first try, you want it to go right so badly. There's so many things that you will do. You bring in coaches from other teams and guys that that you're friends with, and sometimes that can cause a problem right there. But the big-time coaches who shoot up, maybe like a Matt LaFleur is a guy who had been doing really well for a while, not reaching the Super Bowl necessarily, but had a kind of a worse year this year, them going 9-6-1 or whatever it was, and having these expectations and whatnot. I mean, it's definitely a big deal because when you see a Matt Nagy, for instance, who's been a coach, like the Chicago Bears, and then he goes, an OC with the Chiefs and moves on to other teams and this and that. It's like, well, how many times can we give a guy like that a chance where we know he's failed over and over again? So it's just a matter of finding a warm butt to fill the seat. And that's why these guys keep getting recycled over and over, because they're not going to the college ranks as much and offering these jobs to these guys. And they don't see who's the next hotshot DC or OC to come out of what team. But they'll give a shot to anybody like a Jonathan Gannon, who just happened to be the defensive coordinator of the Philadelphia Eagles the year after going to the Super Bowl. And look what happened in Arizona. It was a complete failure. So, again, it's really hit or miss. You don't know what's going to happen until it does. But it's a big deal when you go for it on your first try and you fail so badly. It's so hard to get back and get another coaching job.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And Savage says that, it is a big deal. Coaches don't have long these days and need to have playoff success ASAP. And then I responded to him by saying, and I'll ask you this. A lot of times, and this is kind of like a side big deal or no deal, a lot of times we get spoiled by the success of like an early success of a team. Now, this is going on right now in college football when you look at how the University of Indiana, who is the historically worst team in college football history, now all of a sudden for the last 2 years, they got a Big Ten title, they got a Heisman Trophy winner, they've been in the playoffs twice, and they're in prime position right now to potentially play in a national championship game. So I think, and do you agree with this, that a lot of teams get spoiled by watching other teams succeed early, and that potentially sets unreal expectations? Because if I'm a general manager, I have to be realistic. I got to take that hard look in the mirror, and I got to say, look, first of all, am I the best? What do I got to do to be the best team in my division, then my conference, then the league? And in the NFL, it's a little bit harder because you got so many guys that you got to deal with. But is it a big deal or no deal that the expectations a lot of times on some of these teams are so high, and that's why a lot of these coaches fail?
No, it's no deal because the expectations are going to be high. If you're one of 32 people in the world to have a head coaching NFL job, that is 0.0000 thousand millionth percentage of people in this world that have that job. 32.
Right.
That's it. So the pressure is on, and deservedly so. You're asked to come in there to change the culture of the team in most case scenarios, because if the team is looking for a new head coach, that means they did poorly the year before. 2 wins, 3 wins, 4 wins, whatever it may be, So I just look at it from that perspective alone. And to me, it's that easy.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. So as we move on to a couple of playoff scenarios. So it was the San Francisco 49ers were in a position this past week to get potentially the number 1 seed and get a home game. Is it a big deal or no deal that San Francisco has to go on the road and play Philly? And I know we'll get into the picks later on, but I'm just curious to see, because you're wearing the hat, because you got the jersey back there in the background, because McNiner's on the show, is it a big deal or no deal that the 49ers have to go on the road to play the Philadelphia Eagles in order to move on to the second round of the playoffs?
Yeah, I think it's a very big deal. Philadelphia,
Really?
even though I think it's a very big deal. Now, the 49ers, they can travel because they have a guy named Christian McCaffrey who can do it all from the backfield. But the fact that they have to go, to also a cold weather place. And San Francisco's not exactly, Somerville over there. I mean, it does get chilly at nights or whatever like that, but it could be a bad weather game, which the 49ers are not usually into if it's cold rain or if it even snows, whatever it may be. So advantage Philly. And that's why teams try to win their division or get the number 1 overall seed, because they want that home field advantage. Denver has got a great home field advantage at Mile High Stadium, literally a mile high up. They're used to playing other teams come in there, and they need oxygen masks like crazy. So going back to the 49ers, look, they would have been in trouble at home to begin with because we are so banged up. It is ridiculous. But now having to go to Philly, who's got championship pedigree, knows what they're doing. Their defense is stout. It's going to be hard to score against them. And the fact that they can run the ball and we have such a hard time stopping it. Yeah, going to Philadelphia to play the Eagles now with a clean slate, everybody's 0-0, is a very big deal.
Okay, now I'm sure you kind of kind of know where I might be going with this next big deal or no deal. So we saw Harbaugh get let go. We potentially could see Tomlin get let go.
Mm-hmm.
If San Francisco and your boy, Kyle Shanahan, go into Lincoln Field as Savage thinks that's going to happen, and if they lose, does the seat get a little warm going into the offseason for Kyle Shanahan?
No, it doesn't. It does not get warm.
What does this guy got to do to get fired?
Yeah, he's been to
Does he have
two
pictures
Super
of like
Bowls.
blackmail extortion pictures with John Lynch and like a 21-year-old something? What does this guy? Because we've seen coaches, and I'll let you elaborate in a second. We've seen coaches get fired because they're perennially bad, but we've also seen coaches like John Harbaugh get fired even when the team is perennially good. And I would probably, side by side, I'd probably say Shanahan maybe had the slight better last few years because he's been to a couple Super Bowls. But we've also seen teams that let their coach go because they're not getting to that next level. And I cite this all the time. We go back to the 04 Pistons. Rick Carlisle kept getting them to the Eastern Conference Finals, but they couldn't get over the hump, so they hired Larry Brown. Next thing you know, they win a championship. So, look at the boy. Look at the boy right here.
He loves me.
So, but you don't think at all that what would it take for San Francisco to relieve Kyle Shanahan or mutually part the ways?
Cute looking pup. Yes, thank you very much, Joe. I got my doggy over here. He just wants to get in on this. But what it would have to take at this point is him putting together a couple of seasons where he's got all of his guys healthy and they don't do anything. They win 6 games, 7 games, or worse than that. But he continues to win double-digit wins almost year in and year out. I know last year, again, everybody was banged up, so it didn't happen last year. But he's been to 2 Super Bowls and could have won both of them. And then you think back, the 28-3 debacle with Atlanta, all understandable, but he's got a really good track record. And the 49ers are smart enough to know that just because you get rid of Kyle Shanahan doesn't mean the grass is greener on the other side. Kyle Shanahan is a head coach of the year candidate this year. How many players have been hurt for the 49ers? I can go through the entire list, and we're not going to. He is well deserved of keeping his job and maybe even signing another contract to keep that job because, again, you don't know what else you're getting. And you know that Kyle Shanahan not just runs a great offense, but has control of his football team, and they play together. So, no, Kyle Shanahan is not in any trouble at all.
Spoken like a true homer. All right, and last one, I'll get you out on this. The Buffalo Bills have to go to Jacksonville. And we all thought at the beginning, maybe middle of the season, that Buffalo was going to end up being a 1 seed and the road would probably have to go through Buffalo or through Baltimore. Is this a big deal considering the up and down nature of Buffalo's last 7 weeks? Is it a big deal or no deal, A, that they have to go on the road to play the Jags, and B, is it a big deal or no deal that Jacksonville has been on such a roll lately, and this is probably going to be more of a difficult game than a lot of Bills fans are ready to admit?
Yeah, this is definitely a big deal for Buffalo because, number one, they feel that they should have home field advantage, if not the number 1 overall seed, at least going into this. They're shocked that they didn't win the division this year, and now they're going to have to go on the road, to win most of these games. So the Buffalo Bills, to me, yeah, they should be in trouble. Josh Allen got a bad foot. They can't stop the run. The Jaguars have been on fire, man. And this is the year with, again, no Burrow, no Lamar, no Mahomes. It's Josh Allen's trophy to be won this year, and it doesn't feel like that right now because it's not him. It's the Buffalo Bills' entire team. So while the pressure is absolutely totally on for them to do it, the fact that they have to go on the road and play Jacksonville, who's tough out at this point, and they're going to be on the road and play the tougher teams, yeah, man, that's a problem. And if Buffalo doesn't get it done this year, Sean McDermott, definitely, we talk about head coaches. That's it right there, Prime, right?
And yeah, that's what and a lot of this stuff that's happening now is stuff that you and I kind of been alluding to most of the year, especially with guys like, we talked at the beginning of the season about Harbaugh and Tomlin. And as the season moved on, we were talking about maybe Cliff Kingsbury potentially getting a job. So we kind of prophesized, ding, 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 some of this stuff happening. But now the question, and I was just pulling your chain about Kyle Shanahan. You know, I had to do
Oh, of course, I know.
so, but McDermott is legit. That's a legit question right there. And this goes back to what I talked about a few minutes ago about, yeah, teams are doing well, but are they doing well enough? The question now becomes, okay, if you get rid of McDermott, who's the next guy up? Do you wait another 2-3 years for him to get his feet wet? But Sean McDermott, I think, is very much a candidate to be on the hot seat. Maybe not in media circles, but in Buffalo, I would imagine they would start to kind of, start throwing some snowballs at his house because he can't get it done. So, but yeah, that's
especially if they're one and done in these playoffs, despite having to go on the road. Yeah, that's going to be a real big problem in Buffalo. Absolutely.
No, you know what? I'll save that for next week. I'll save that question for next week. You guys got to tune in. Yeah, you guys got to tune in for the question. I'm gonna write it down so I don't forget. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that was Big Deal or No Deal. Great stuff as always by the Prophet. Thank you very much. Thank you for the chat for chiming in. But yeah, this is what we all wait for. It's like we said last week. It's bittersweet because it's the playoffs, but with the playoffs means the quasi end to the season, so it's kind of like a referendum on, it's bittersweet, man. It's bittersweet.
It's hard. There's going to be less and less teams alive as we go on from week to week. It's going to be less teams playing football, so that's why when we do our Freaky Fantasy Football Draft, you got to strategize. You got to think, all right, who's going to be around, who's not. All right, so it's going to be a lot of thinking over here, but before that, we have to get to our picks. It is wild card weekend. I am ready to go. I was on again last night. We had a 3rd and 3 reunion, made some picks, agreed with them, with Damian and Nikki. We had a great time. But as far as the Super Bowl goes, we will make our prediction for that as well. But let's take one game at a time. Starting in the AFC, we have Buffalo, as you alluded to just now. We'll start there. Going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville is hot as hell. They've won 8 games in a row. Buffalo defense not looking good. Their passing game is not looking too great either, to be honest with you. It's Josh Allen and James Cook running the ball, and we know Jacksonville can stop the run game. They're one of the better teams out there. I think you even mentioned that last week, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a tough game for Buffalo. What do you think happens in this matchup?
I think the only way, and I can't believe I'm saying the only way that Buffalo wins this game is that if Josh Allen has a game like they had against the Bengals a few weeks back. He's got to put on the cape. He's got to run for 100. He's got to pass for 280. He's got to have, what was that 6 touchdown game? Was that the Cincinnati game? The one where he scored
I forgot which one. Yeah, he ran for 3 and threw for 3.
Yeah, he's got to have a game like that because, and the interesting part of this is that the spread is only 1.5, and Buffalo's actually favored in this game. Which that's kind of interesting considering Jacksonville's on a roll and they're at home. And real quick question to you: is it a big deal or no deal that you go into the playoffs on such a long winning streak, and the percentages say eventually you can't win them all, and it would be the worst time to crash and burn in the playoffs?
No, I think it's a big deal. We've seen teams do it before, whether it, like I've seen like the Colts in one way. They've like sat their guys the last couple of games and then come back in the playoffs and then be a little rusty. So, no, I think playing through and riding that momentum, there's that word again, or that confidence level, as I substitute that word in for. No, you keep that going. You got that winning streak going. You got that confidence on the field that we can score on any given drive out there and we can stop the opposing team on any given drive. No, man. Ride that thing. But on the other hand, if you're a well-coached team like Sean Payton is with the Denver Broncos, that number 1 seed is a great thing. And getting a week to rest your players and get them as healthy as possible for the playoff game is a huge deal. So that definitely is part of it. But no, I think riding a win streak and saying, oh, well, we got to lose at some point. No, you don't have to. I mean, teams have gone on streaks and gone all the way to win the Super Bowl. Your New York Giants being one of them.
Yeah, and but yeah, the over under on that game is 52.5. Like I say, Buffalo's favored, so I'm gonna, you know what, I gotta go with my guy. I'm as impressed as I am as with what Jacksonville is doing. I gotta go with the Bills in this. I have a feeling in my heart of hearts that Buffalo's gonna find a way to pull this off, and it'll save Sean McDermott's job at least for one more week.
Maybe so. All right. Well, Joey agrees with you. He's going with Buffalo also. Joey from the chat over here, real savage. But I'm going Jacksonville. I just think that they are that hot right now. Again, we said they won 8 games in a row. They're scoring. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is playing his best football right now. They are very well coached. We mentioned Liam Cohen, many times on this show, and for multiple reasons, obviously. But he's my coach of the year that I had picked before the season. I'm going to stick with Jacksonville and Buffalo being one and done in a year where they should have been the favorite to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, I got to do it, man. And Jacksonville, I think they're going to put up over 35 points this game, and I don't know if Buffalo's going to be able to score that much. That's a lot to ask. 35? That's a lot. Jacksonville's going to put up that many. I think it's going to be like a 35-31 type of game. So take the over in that game. The 52.5, it's going to go probably like 62.5.
Yeah, I'm tempted to agree with that.
All right, next up we have the 11-6 LA Chargers versus the AFC East Division winning 14-3 New England Patriots. I'll kick this one off, Prime. This is a great matchup. I love to see it. Now, the problem with the Chargers is their offensive line. They've been in shambles all year long, but New England doesn't really get home to the quarterback that much. They're better at stopping the run, but not really getting to the quarterback. So if Herbert has time, he can find McConkey, Quentin Johnson, and Aronde Gadsden, and all these guys. The running game, let's see what's going to happen. Omarion Hampton, if he's going to be able to be healthy enough to get out there and do his thing. But Drake May going into his first playoff game may be tough, even though it's at home. They don't have a juggernaut of a team. We know that. They are well coached, but we thought that their defense would be the biggest part of the reason why they would go far, and their defense has not been playing well. I think that the Chargers are the better team, all right? I think maybe just as well coached with Jim Harbaugh, all right? And I just think overall with their defense, the Chargers have one of the most underrated defenses in the NFL. I don't think we talk about it enough.
Say that louder for the people in the back, please.
Yeah, the Chargers have one of the most underrated defenses in the NFL. So I do believe that their defense will be able to go to New England, even though it's a long trip, going all the way across country, that they'll be ready to go for this game and pull out the quote-unquote upset in New England. Give me the Chargers, bro.
Is that the farthest travel in the NFL to go, or is it from Santa Clara to New England? Because I know you can't get any farther east than Foxborough, but is Santa Clara? Well, no, because California goes like that.
Yeah, and Santa Clara is more north.
Yeah, so it doesn't get longer than that, does it?
Right. Maybe the only one is Seattle to Miami.
Oh yeah. Jesus, you imagine being on that flight? Holy crap!
No, somebody would have to I need a couple of Xanax for that flight. Knock me the hell out.
That's funny. And then your boy is taking a page out of the Prophet playbook with the puns. The Chargers may cook May. He's going with the Chargers over the Pats. You know what?
Yeah.
I have to, and I'm not always 100% sold on, well, it's the guy's first time in the playoffs, this, that, and the other, because a lot of times in situations like that, your coach knows that, and he's able to kind of scheme up some other stuff around you to kind of cushion that blow a little bit. I just think that the Chargers, this is the year I think that potentially the Fighting Hardballs at least get to the AFC Championship game again, because it's so wide open. Vrabel's done an outstanding job. New England spent a ton of money. They got what they expected with Drake May, and I think this is the start of something big for the Patriots, but I don't think that it continues multiple weeks in this particular playoff cycle. So give me the LA Chargers. New England's actually favored by 3.5 in this one, and the over-under is 46.5. If that tickles your fancy at all. So, but yeah, give me the Chargers to win that one outright.
Yeah, I see more of a lower scoring game, something like a 23-17 type game for the Chargers over there, and maybe taking control at the end, then running the clock out. So we'll see. That's going to be an interesting game, no doubt about it. So will this next one, but not for maybe the sparky reasons, because Mike Tomlin, again, here's his name, with Aaron Rodgers, both in the playoffs, back and doing it together this time. And they have to play the Houston Texans, who are, again, one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They finished out their season winning, 8 in a row, I think it was, to go 12-5. All right. They're probably, overall, a better team than Pittsburgh, Prime. Does that mean they're going to win this game? It's in Pittsburgh, and we know that Tomlin is great at home on Monday night. So, what are your thoughts?
Ah, you know what?
And by the way, I love you put up there. Profit is always right.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you.
he said Prophet was 100% right about the Chargers. And Prophet, I was like, yeah, Prophet's always right.
I appreciate the love, my brother.
All the time. So the over-under on this was 39.5. Houston's favored by 3 on the road. Mm-hmm. Here's the thing. You've talked about this, and we've talked about this multiple times about the ups and downs of the Houston offense. However, that defense we've also talked about. And that defense, there's some bad dudes on that defense. And I think, all things being equal, I will take the Houston Texans defense over the Pittsburgh Steelers offense 17 days a week and 9 times on Sunday. So I'm gonna take the road favorites, and I'm gonna take the Houston Texans to survive and advance. It may be a bloody slugfest. We could potentially be looking at a 20-17 game, but give me, I'd like I said, I just have more confidence in the Texans defense than I do at all in Pittsburgh's offense. And Aaron Rodgers, you better get that Bengay and BioFreeze or whatever ready you do, whatever Hiawatha or whatever the hell it is you do, because Houston's coming, and your boy he's gonna have those guys ready.
Yeah, look, it looks like real savage. Joey agreeing with you. Pitt is lucky to be there. Houston D is going to Blitzburg, Pittsburgh, all over the place. And you know what? I tend to agree, but somehow, some way, Pittsburgh ends up winning these games. I don't know how they do it. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense. Maybe it'll be the return of DK Metcalf and giving them that ability for him to come back and say, okay, at least we got this guy on the outside. So we're taking care of Derek Stingley Jr. Maybe these other guys, like your boy Calvin Austin, can get open, and some of these other dudes, Swaranek and whatnot. And you got your tight ends and Jonnu Smith and Darnell Washington. You got your running game. Kenneth Gainwell has been tremendous for the team. He was named the team MVP for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Kenneth Gainwell. So if they can keep control of the ball on the ground and get the quick passing game going, because look, Rodgers knows that he's going to have to get that ball out of his hands quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Better.
Houston can get to you, and they only have to rush 4 to do it. DeMeco Ryans is a mastermind, there's no doubt, but so is Mike Tomlin, and the Pittsburgh Steelers have been playing better defense, and you said it before, you're not sure about Houston's offense. Well, you know what? Neither am I. They really don't have a running game to speak of, and their offense, if Nico Collins isn't having a big day, then you can pretty much forget about it, because otherwise they have a couple of rookie wide receivers who are decent, don't get me wrong, and Higgins, and I'm forgetting the other guy, I don't know why off the top of my head, but I don't know why Mike Tomlin wins Monday Night Football games at home, but he's going to do it again. I'm going to take Pittsburgh in the upset.
Oh, it's an upset because of the point spread, but I wouldn't be shocked if Pittsburgh wins, but I just can't put my faith in that offense. And as savage as Houston might blitz bro into retirement, and then I respond by saying, let's hope so, because as everybody knows who's a fan of this show, I loathe Aaron Rodgers with all my heart. I loathe him. There's nothing more that I don't want to see him get hurt, but I would love to see him just get beat up so much to where he throws in the towel, the terrible towel, and just like, you know what, I'm done, and just I'm going to ride off into the sunset, go sit in a cave, go smoke some whatever it is I smoke, take those olive oil enemas or whatever the hell he's been doing out there. And but yeah, I wouldn't be shocked.
Spoken like a true Lions fan right there. Hating on Aaron Rodgers.
I just hate him.
Surprised.
You know what though? Here, real quick, the main reason I hate Aaron Rodgers is the same reason I hate LeBron.
Oh,
and the same reason I disliked Patrick Mahomes initially. We start comparing these guys too soon to the great ones. Aaron Rodgers, I challenge people all the time. Tell me what makes Aaron Rodgers so great without saying the phrase, he can make all the throws nobody else can make. He's got 1 Super Bowl. He's got minimal playoff success after that. Yes, he's accurate, and yes, he's this, but take away all of that. Tell me what makes Aaron Rodgers, his teammates have never liked him. He's a horrible teammate. He's a douchebag. So there's really no, other than he can make all the throws, what makes him so great? And then you start comparing him to like Tom Brady. Stop it. Stop. And the same with
Yeah.
Mahomes. It took your boy when Montana won 4. It took Tom Brady to win 4 before people even started talking about him about the greatest of all time. Mahomes wins 2 prior to his 3rd, and people, oh my God, he's the greatest of all. Stop it. Just stop it. Let's enjoy these guys while they're here. Stop always trying to compare them to other stuff and just enjoy them while they're here. But in the meantime, I still hate Aaron Rodgers.
The rant on Aaron Rodgers,
I
man.
hate him.
Damn, coming
Fucking hate
at him hardcore. Leave the 42-year-old man alone. My goodness, he doesn't need it. He needs all the confidence and momentum in the world. That's
Yeah,
Aaron,
he does.
I'll debate that with you on another show, Aaron Rodgers' greatness. But I will say that he is not considered one of the best because he didn't have that consistency. And you are right about him in the playoffs. He doesn't have a great playoff record. He really doesn't. And he should have a better record than he does. And same maybe to be said about Brett Favre, but something with them Green Bay quarterbacks, man, they do get ones.
Whoa.
Favre,
The thing is that the same thing, same things apply to Aaron Rodgers that they do to Brett Favre, but I just love Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I can't stand it. I mean, Brett Favre is a player. I mean, it's so fun to watch, but as a 49er fan, he gutted us in the playoffs year after year. So I had a big problem with Brett Favre. Big problem with him. His Green Bay Packers are in the playoffs, so why don't we talk about them right now? They are 9-7-1, 9-6-1,
9-6-1.
right? They got to play Chicago.
They're 9-7-1.
Their NFC North Division rival. The game's in Chicago, and the game keeps going back and forth. The Bears are favored, then the Packers are favored. Now the Bears are favored again. So this one is interesting. They've already played each other twice. They split. The last game, Green Bay was up in the 4th quarter, and Chicago miraculously comes back. They get an onside kick, 2 late touchdowns and whatnot. Unbelievable. So is it going to be the luck of Chicago, or is it going to be the skill of Chicago? And or does Green Bay have what it takes to win this game on the road? I'll let you have the floor, my friend.
Here's my whole thing. I can't believe that the Packers are favored in this game. It's only 1.5, so basically it's a coin flip. I think it's a 45.5 point spread over and under, point spread. It's 45.5 over and under. I'm actually shocked that the Packers are favored in this game. I think if you watch Caleb Williams, and I won't break my arm patting myself on the back, but I called this out at the beginning of the season. I was telling people that the Chicago Bears scare me. And they've given me every reason to confirm that as the season went on.
You did.
The way that have you seen anybody make some of the more pretty throws than Caleb Williams this season? He has made some remarkable off-platform, on-platform, the deep ball. He's the most accurate deep ball passer in the league. Chicago, by the way, and Savage will appreciate this, they are the number 1 takeaway defense in the NFL. I think they got like 40 takeaways altogether, 38, 39 takeaways, something like that. They're by far the best takeaway team in the league. My whole thing with the Packers is kind of what you allude to all the time, and your disdain for Jordan Love. You know, his up and down. The fact that their defense hasn't been playing as well since Micah Parsons been gone. So, having said all that, I'm going to take the Bears to upset and advance the Ben Johnson crew, the good, better, best, never let it rest crew. I can't believe he broke that slogan out. That's like my age when I was like 4. So yeah, give me the Bears in that one, man. I'm very interested to see what you think on this.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with the Bears for a lot of the reasons you said. Now, I don't have a lot of confidence in this game, but what I do have confidence is a point that you said, that they're really good at taking the ball away, and Jordan Love can be really good at giving the ball away at times. So
I knew it. There it is.
He could be throwing the ball into double coverage, triple coverage, and turnovers, and there you go. And I don't like their running game right now, Green Bay, and that was the backbone of their offense, which Josh Jacobs going over 100 yards every game and getting in the end zone 1 or 2 times. They don't have that right now. He's banged up. Things are not working out. Their wide receiver core is also banged up. Jordan Love himself was banged up in concussion protocol. Dude, the Bears right now, they feel confident. They feel hot. They feel momentum. They know that they're a good team and they can win this game. No, they didn't finish off the season like the way that they wanted to. Still getting the number 2 overall seed. Obviously, Chicago, I think that they are right now the better team and maybe better coached than Ben Johnson over Matt LaFleur, who I do have respect for. But Yeah, I see Chicago being able to actually take this game at home. How many points are going to be scored? I think a decent amount. There was a 28-21 victory by the Green Bay, and then it was a much, I think 17-16. I forgot what the last game was that the Bears had come back on. But I think a few points get scored in this game, and I think Chicago scores more of them. So I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with the Bears to win this game.
Bears.
The Bears. All right, so we head over now to the LA Rams in Carolina, where they played already once before Prime. They played in Carolina, and Carolina surprisingly beat the LA Rams. The Rams ain't going to let that happen again. The Rams are 10-point favored on the road. I think they cover that. I'm putting money on them. I'm telling you right now, they are going to show revenge and avenge and everything. They're just going to beat down Carolina and say, you have no right to be here. Get the hell out.
So what you're saying is an 8-9 team doesn't belong in the playoffs. That's what
exactly.
That's the moral of your story right there. And actually, in the site I'm looking at. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
For God's sake, they had to backdoor their way into the freaking play. They lose to Tampa Bay on Saturday night, and then they have to pray that Atlanta wins this game. And Atlanta just beating Saints. Unbelievable.
What a way you're right. You're exactly right. Either team, Tampa Bay and Carolina, had to sit and pray for the results of a game for one of them to be crowned the champions to get into the play. That's the ultimate. That's the ultimate backdoor. It actually, the site that I'm looking at is 10.5, and the point spread is 46, or the over under is 46.5. So
Rams might get that by themselves, bro.
That's where I was kind of. This is and Savage. You know, the Rams are going to baptize the Panthers. I agree with that 150%. This game, and I need to be careful because I said this when they played a few weeks ago. I said the exact same thing, but you're right. This is playoffs, and Bryce Young beating Matthew Stafford in the playoffs.
Don't add up.
Team stuff away. Let's take all the team stuff away and just Matthew Stafford losing to Bryce Young in the playoff. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. No. Your triple team McMillan, and this could be like a 38-10 type game.
I agree. It could be that big of a beatdown. I'm totally with you, man. That's why I love the Rams in this one. Got to watch out for them damn over-unders, but I love the Rams in that game. If we were locking, I would lock it, but we have one more game to talk about, and that would be my San Francisco 49ers. I'm representing, I'm wearing the hat. We got to go to Philadelphia to play the Eagles, who have not been playing good football for predominantly the most part of the year, really. Their run game has not been there. The pass game hasn't been there, but the defense has been there, and that's what worries me about San Francisco going on the road and having to score points against that defense, because I watched what happened Saturday night against the Seattle Seahawks, and it was bad news, Prime. Only put up 3 points at home against Seattle. Now, Philadelphia has a very good defense, maybe not as good as Seattle, but they're right there. And again, the 49ers have to go on the road to play them. This is not a good freaking project that I'm looking at right here. The 49ers got problems. Again, Ricky Pearsall may not play in this game. He's questionable. So we've got to rely on Jawan Jennings and Demarcus Robinson. We're hoping that George Kittle is going to be healthy enough. He's going to play, but how healthy will he be? We keep losing guys on defense. We lost Hayden Bethune, another guy who had stepped in. I mean, Deke Winters is questionable. Gifford is questionable. There are so many guys that we just don't know about. Upton Stout, our rookie, who's been playing really well at cornerback, he was hurt. He's coming back. He's going to be healthy. But, damn, there is a lot to deal with on the Philadelphia side. And, again, the 49ers, another part of this, Prime, they don't stop the run really well. So if the Eagles go back to their game plan from last year and say, let's give the ball to Saquon 25 times and let Jalen Hurts run it 8 to 10 times. That's the way we win this football game. That's what I'm worried about.
And you kind of what you're alluding to is kind of the formula that the Baltimore Ravens lost. You know, this kind of is the same. You know, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, whatever you want. They're equal in my opinion as far as threats. Let me ask you a question, bro. I'm gonna ask you two questions. One, you talk about the inconsistencies actually of both teams' offense and sometimes their defense. Can San Francisco win a slugfest, and can Philly win a shootout? So let's say this game, this isn't a typical cold weather game. Let's start with let's say if it's a 13-10 type game. Is that the type of game that San Francisco can win? And can Philly win a 35-27 type game?
Here's the thing about Philly. They can win any kind of game. When they want to throw the ball, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith get open. And real savage, real quick, saying the Eagles' D has been statistically the best D in the last couple of months, particularly in points allowed, passer rating. So the Eagles, you're saying the Eagles, he's an Eagle fan, so he's going to bring out all those stats right there. He's going to bring out all those stats. But I'm sorry, but Prime, going back to what you said.
Yeah, I was just saying, can they in the tale of two potential games, can San Francisco win a close one, like a 13-10 type game, or can Philly win a shootout? Which I'm sure San Francisco's probably hoping it goes more to the shootout than the slugfest.
Yeah, Philly can win any kind of game. I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the point I was trying to make. They can win a low-scoring game and they can win a high-scoring game. They can do both. But it is in better hands if it is a high-scoring game. If the 49ers are out there and they're consistently going up and down the field, yeah, that's a better chance in a high-scoring game. Because in a low-scoring game, their defense, to me, is not enough. If Jalen Hurts has to drive them down on a game-winning drive, whether it's kick a field goal or score a touchdown, I would have more confidence in the Eagles' offense being able to drive on the 49ers' defense in a must-have situation.
Really?
Yeah. I don't trust the 49ers' defense at all. The Bears, again, when they were missing a couple of guys on offense, they put up 38 points against us. We needed to come back again on the last drive. I don't like that, man. Mm-hmm. I don't like that. The 49ers' defense giving up too much. But then I look at the game against Seattle, and I say, wow, they only lit up 13 points against Seattle. Or is that really Seattle's offense not being that good? And I kind of reverted back, not to get too much off topic. I don't think Seattle's offense is that good. We're going to make our Super Bowl predictions right now. And I'm telling you, despite Seattle being the number 1 seed, they are not in my Super Bowls this year. No freaking way. Sam Darnold is not leading a team to a Super Bowl. It is not going to happen ever. I know that he's got the best regular season record over the past couple of years, but no way Sam Darnold leads a team to a Super Bowl.
What if he does? What if he does?
If he does, I'll drink milk.
What if Sam Darnold, Super Bowl champion, Sam Darnold?
It doesn't make sense. No, that the world will stop revolving on its axis. Everything will stop. The poles will shift. The sun will disappear from the solar system.
Oh my God, Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold. That's Sam Darnold.
But you got to give him credit, man. I mean, even though despite the turnovers, he had helped that team get there, and the Broncos got the number 1 seed on the other side. So let's make the Super Bowl prediction right now. You, I imagine, are going to stick with your LA Rams. You picked them at the beginning of the year.
Like glue.
But who are they going to play? The Rams are going to play who from the AFC? Who comes out?
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. You know what? I originally had, for the sake of people that don't know, my original pick was Rams Ravens, and I had the Rams winning it. Of course, the Ravens aren't in the playoffs, so that would, lead me to my next backup pick, and I'm gonna just,
wait a second, hold on. Did you gave me Philly as your winner? I'm sorry.
No, I gave you. Yeah, I did. I did take Philly.
Right, we both went Philly. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Okay.
And I told Savage, as a Giants fan, I cannot continue to agree with you. But you know what? Here, I'm not gonna build the drama. Give me the LA Rams versus the Buffalo Bills. And Matthew Stafford gets another one and rides off into the sunset, and Joe Burrow becomes the next quarterback of the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh my God! Wow, look at this freaking hot take right there. Are you kidding me? You're gonna drop this shit at the end of the show right now? Joe Burrow, next quarterback of the LA Rams? Oh my God! Oh my goodness! Would that be if that happens? I defer the prophet title to you. You will get that, no doubt. Joe Burrow becomes the Rams. Wow, what a take right there! That's a hot ass take. You should be on ESP freaking right now. People like Ryan Clark would be losing their mind right now. Dan Orlovsky would be like, "What?" But I love it, man. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, the possibility if he wants out of Cincinnati. you can bet your ass Sean McVay's going to go after Joe Burrow.
He could
man,
pull a
for that
Carson
now.
Palmer. I'm sure you remember that back when Carson Palmer forced his way out of Cincinnati, man, and just was like, you know,
Yeah.
I don't want it. But we'll probably talk about that later. But how did Zach Taylor retain his job? We'll get into that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I don't know. And they went out of their way to say he will be back. They didn't leave any suspense about it. It's like, no, Zach Taylor's coming back, dude.
So does that mean Burrow's coming back too? I don't necessarily think so.
I mean, that would be the plan. Otherwise, yeah, you would think get rid of Zach Taylor, start brand new all over again. But that's just a really bad franchise, man. It really is. I'm still shocked they got to the Super Bowl a few years ago, but did lose to those LA Rams. And I'm taking the Rams to go to the Super Bowl. I think that they are the best team in the NFC right now. And I'm not sure if the Denver Broncos are the best team in the AFC, but I think that they're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl with that home field advantage. Teams got to come in there, do the mile high thing. You know, again, it's harder to play up there. There's no doubt. Denver's got an excellent defense, top 3 in the league. Their offense can get going. RJ Harvey is giving them some juice. When I look at the teams, yeah, Buffalo and Jacksonville are 2 teams that definitely would scare me. New England, not that much. Houston, not too much, but yeah, the defense, no doubt. And Pittsburgh, no, not really. So when I say, you know what, the number 1 seed, a lot of the times usually ends up making it to the Super Bowl, I will take the number 1 seed in the AFC. So give me Denver versus the Rams, with the Rams winning it. And you might be right about Matt Stafford riding off into the sunset and that being it for him, calling it a career with his 2nd Super Bowl. But he would like to win Super Bowl MVP. So let's see if he could do that. So
who won the Super Bowl
both
MVP in the one that they won? Who won the Super Bowl MVP?
Cooper Kupp.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he had an amazing game.
Cooper Kupp.
Well, Real Savage doesn't like my Denver pick. I'm not in love with it either, but I don't trust New England to be able to beat all these teams and go all the way. Jacksonville, it's kind of hard for me to see that scenario pulling itself out. I'll tell you this, if Buffalo beats Jacksonville, which I don't think is going to happen, but if Buffalo does beat Jacksonville, I would start to put them maybe in as the favorite to go ahead and go all the way. They're one of the teams that can contend with Denver because Buffalo can score points with just about anybody. It's just, again, the fact that how many points are they going to give up?
Yeah, I agree with that. And then the whole thing. Let me ask. So, consider the way that Jacksonville has played. Would a one and done be? I don't want to say failure because if you're ever on TikTok or whatever, take a look at what Giannis says about seasons being a failure. It was absolutely awesome when he went back at this reporter. They asked him, "Is your season a failure if you don't win a championship?" But is it super disappointing that you win 8 games in a row, you win 12 games, you fight and claw, the second half of the season, one of the best teams in the NFL, to lose in the first round at home? Is that something that would be a major disappointment, or would you as a coach say, all right, it's something we can build off for next year?
It depends where the coach is in his stage in his career with the team. If he's got a solid seat and not worried about going anywhere, then yeah, you use that and build momentum, saying, and you're going into the next game. Real Savage saying there is no such thing as failure. There are steps to success. That's Giannis.
Yeah, watch. And he's spotted. That's the clip I was referring to. But he kind of took this reporter to task when he asked him about that. And yeah, Savage is spot on. That's the clip I'm referring to. But anyway.
Very interesting right there. And yeah, just going back to McNiner real quick, he was saying about the Broncos that he did pick them to win the AFC West. I remember that from the beginning of the year, but he said that's where it stops. He doesn't trust the Patriots either. And
so I guess by default it has to be the Bills then, eh?
I think the Bills, look, if they beat Jacksonville, I think I think the Bills, if they beat Jacksonville, then you start to say, you know what, Buffalo may be that team that can go into Denver and beat Denver, because I'm not sure about New England,
about the
Pittsburgh. No, Houston, the Chargers, yeah, but if there is a team that can rush the passer really well, like Houston can, and they have already beaten the Chargers this year, that's what I worry about, is their offensive line. I think they get away with it this game because New England, again, they're not great at getting to the quarterback, so I think that Herbert will be able to do his thing. But in the next round, if they got to go play Denver, yeah, they split this season. Both of those teams, it would be a third rubber match over there. But No, they have what it takes. They do. But I worry about the running game a little bit and that offensive line. So that would be my problem with LA. But yeah, I think they get the win this weekend. With that all being said, we have Wild Card Weekend Edition Freaky Fantasy Football Draft. So let's freaking do it, man. All right. So, oh, by the way, last week, Prime did win for the season 10-5-1 for the weekly picks. Well done on that over there. And I took home the Freaky Fantasy Football Draft crown. 12-4, so we killed each other respectively each other way.
Damn.
We just destroyed each other, man. We really did. Absolute destruction. So, all right, I'm gonna make the first pick.
Really, way to slide the absolute destroy. Way to slide that in there. Yeah, 12-4. Yeah, absolutely.
And on your side too,
I just Pearl Harbored the guy. Wait, maybe that was a little bit insensitive. Maybe.
You destroyed me with the picks, man. 10-5-1. I got killed this year with the picks. You were on point, bro. You nailed it. So yeah, definitely give yourself another pat on the back right there.
Good stuff as always, though, between the two of us. I'm sure there's a lot of people want a lot of money. You can always Cash App myself or Profit. You can email money to the station, to our email address, and show your love and support, because we know there's a lot of people out there. They probably won't admit it. There's a lot of people out there that made a lot of money off of fantasy picks and our weekly picks. So
our weekly picks,
at least drop us a like, follow, and subscribe if you don't want to sell me money. We'll settle for that.
You can sell me $5, if you want. I can buy lunch. Right. But you can't buy lunch for $5 anymore. It's got
not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. Jeez. All right, let's
White Castles are like $1.20 now. Come on.
My stomach hurts. You just saying White Castle.
White Castle, no pickle, extra ketchup and mustard for breakfast. I'm a gangster. Oh Lord.
Oh man, I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, so let's close out the show via Freaky Fantasy Football Draft style. So I get the first pick with this one, and we've been talking about him here and there throughout the show. I'll take my quarterback first, and I will go with Matt Stafford.
Damn, come on, man. Really? Is that
right off the bat? Got to take him. But now you get 2 picks, man, so you can stick it to me.
Well, I gotta show some sort of revelation as we move on to these playoff fantasy picks. So give me Superman for my quarterback.
All right.
Josh Allen. And for my defense, we're going all in first week. I'm going with the Houston Texans defense.
I had a feeling you were going to be going in that direction. All right, Texans on the road.
I got destroyed or destructed or whatever the hell you put it. So I got to save some face here.
Destruction. All right, my next picks. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and I'll take Puka for my wide receiver.
Don't do it for running back. Don't do it.
I wish I kill you with the running back right now. Oh, man. Let's see. Who do I like at running back? Who's going to have a big game this week? Yeah, they stopped it. You know what? I'm going to take Travis Etienne for running back. Travis Etienne for running back against that Buffalo Bills defense. He catches the ball out of the backfield. I think that'll have a pretty good game. So I got Stafford, Etienne, and Puka right now. I'll come back for my tight end and defense after you make your next 2 picks. You got Josh Allen and the Houston Texans.
I'm going to go Saquon.
Oh, okay.
Because you kind of talked me into it when you talked about the holes in the 49ers run defense, which now that
they're huge.
They have
like
given up
some dam opening.
Yeah, and then for my wide receiver, this is a tough one because there's not a lot of great ones in this playoff weekend. Screw it. I'm gonna go AJ Brown.
Oh, okay. AJ Brown. Wow. Barkley and Brown, both from the. Yeah. So you think that Philadelphia may be scoring some points this week?
Yeah, I think that game's gonna be 30-27 type.
Really?
35-26. I do.
Wow.
That's why I asked the question earlier about whether you thought it was a slugfest or a shoot. I think it's going to be higher scoring than people think, but we'll see.
Yeah, I see it more like 23-17, 23-20, maybe something like that. Yeah, I see it a little bit lower scoring. All right, so we'll come back for your tight end. I got to get my tight end in my defense right now. I will take Dalton Kincaid for my tight end for this weekend.
DK
against
number
the
one
Jaguars.
for the Bills. Him and Knox, man.
Yeah,
Hell of a tag
number
team.
one TE. And my defense, I will go with the Chargers against the Patriots.
I knew it. I knew it.
You know me well right now,
I
Prime.
knew
You
it.
know me pretty good. All right, you
Do
just
you- how
got to
much?
pick
Do
your
you, how much?
tight end.
Real quick, how much do you think a lot of these playoffs, especially with young teams or teams that, like with either young quarterbacks or teams that don't have a lot of playoff experience, how important do you think that is for how important do you think coaching is to the success? Can it, like in the NCAA tournament basketball, a good coach can ride. You know, he can take his team very far in the tournament. Do you think the same holds true in the NFL, where you know,
Yeah.
like a Harbaugh or like a Vrabel, you can take a young quarterback, or Harbaugh can take a team like the Chargers with limited playoff success and you can kind of ride the wave of the coach until you hit that team that's just flat out better than you.
I think that's harder to do in football.
Mhm.
It's one game as opposed to, a few games back to back or whatever it is. But riding the success of a really hot head coach, it has happened before. I mean, I remember Jim Harbaugh in his second year with the 49ers, would go 13-3, comes in, turns the whole thing around. But then they don't win the Super Bowl, obviously, but they got there. So I think it's a tricky question. I don't think there's really any set answer to that right there as far as, a team being able to catch fire under a good head coach, because the players are the ones that play on the field, and it's a 60-minute game and it's a bloodbath, and the coach, while very important, only has so much say in what goes on as opposed to maybe a baseball manager or something like that.
Right. I agree. Just wanted to put that out there to see your thoughts. So
I love that. Your beautiful brain is working. I love it. I love it.
So the last pick is my tight end, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do I dare go? Who'd you pick, Kincaid?
I got Kincaid.
Do I dare go Knox just to piss you off?
Try to knocks me out?
Because I can't see. Oh no, give me my boy, because he's emerged lately, and Caleb Williams is finally bringing this guy to life. Give me my University of Michigan, Mr. Colston Loveland.
Okay, I dig it. Yeah, he's been finding him, man. He found him in the end zone last week on a nice big play. So Caleb Williams and Colston Loveland doing their thing over there. All right, so for wild card weekend, I got Stafford, Etienne, Puka, Kincaid, and the Chargers defense. You got Josh Allen, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Colston Loveland, and the Texans defense. Going to be a really good matchup over here. And Prime has got the L.A. Rams versus the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl. I have the L.A. Rams versus the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl. Don't forget, Sean Payton is the head coach of that team. So if anything is being said, he's usually doing it in a good way right there. And this show, always done in a good way. Prime, so graceful with your efforts every single time. I love Big Deal, No Deal. We have a great time doing it. We appreciate you guys in the chat. Real Savage, you were on it today. McNiner, you're a mainstay, obviously. Love you guys out there keeping it going. And yeah, we're going to be doing our our postseason awards coming up, in a couple of weeks over here. But we're going to be sticking on the playoffs, seeing where head coaches get hired, if any more get fired. We'll be back to talk about it next week, Prime. So I'm looking forward to these playoffs right now, baby. Trying to make some money this weekend.
Absolutely. And yeah, kind of go off what you said, like we always say, it's always a pleasure doing the show with you. The profit is starting to rub off on me. I don't think I'd be as good of as a co-host or whatever if it's not for the for what I kind of learned from you over the it's 8 months, 7-8 months now. It's been a long time.
Least,
flies,
yeah.
My brother. Time has been
man.
flying. So it's always as we kind of move into this playoff season, just want to kind of thank you for having me and thinking I had what it takes to be out here with you. We also love the chat each and every week. We love interacting with you guys. Make sure you guys follow, subscribe, notifications every Tuesday night here on the Power 32 podcast. We're always, live and interactive. So tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your friends about us, and show us some love as we try to build this channel and build this podcast into things like we want it so great to where when people look back on it 100 years from now, they look back on it like the Great Pyramids of Egypt, like, who the hell built that? So it was built by Prime and the Prophet and the people in the chat and the people that like, follow, and subscribe us. So we appreciate each and every one of you.
Hey, man, I cannot follow that up, man. That's as well said as it freaking gets right there. I'm going to shut my mouth and just say peace. We love you, and we'll see you next week. Later, guys.